Here are the highlights of this week's news on Japan Today. I'm Nathan, and if you thought that your paycheck is getting light recently, you should know that Japan's economy is now the world's 4th largest after it fell from 3rd place to 4th place, now behind Germany. Japan's stock market, it has been soaring to 30-year highs for the past week, actually, but unfortunately, it hasn't really done the economy much good. Japan's economy was the 2nd largest until 2010, when it was overtaken by China. A weaker Japanese yen was a key factor in this drop to the 4th place, but it's not just that. Economists are saying that Japan's relative weakness also reflects a decline in its population, lagging productivity, and lacking competitiveness. So a lot of problems, basically. Japan was historically touted as an economic miracle, rising from the ashes of World War II to become the 2nd largest economy after the US until the 1980s. But for most of the past 30 years, the economy has remained in the doldrums after the collapse of its financial bubble in 1990. Tetsuji Okazaki, a professor of economics at the University of Tokyo, said, "The latest data will likely result in Japan commanding a lesser presence in the world." He says that when looking ahead to the next couple of decades, the outlook for Japan is dim. One Japan Today reader says, "The blame for this is not on the hardworking Japanese people, but the parasitic one-party LDP state and their crony capitalist compatriots in Japan Inc." While another reader pessimistically observes that the race to the bottom has picked up pace. While Japan's economy might not be flying high, its latest rocket is. The space agency has successfully launched a 2nd test of its new flagship rocket, H3, in a welcome boost to its space program after last year's inaugural flight failed. This launch follows the historic pinpoint landing of a Japanese spacecraft last month. The Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries designed the H3 rocket, hoping that its lower costs and greater payload capacity will help them win launch orders from global clients for space stuff, I guess, I don't know. The H3's first flight in March ended up with ground control destroying the rocket 14 minutes after liftoff because its 2nd stage engine failed to ignite. This time, there were no problems with the rocket though, or its 2 satellites. One of the microsatellites is expected to contribute to disaster prevention by taking photos and videos. The other, equipped with a sensor to detect infrared rays, is intended to detect the operation conditions of factories on the ground. The government plans to launch about 20 satellites and probes with these H3 rockets by 2030. So it's gonna get pretty crowded up there. The Japanese Defense Ministry will allow self-defense force recruits to have longer hair from April as it aims to make the armed services more attractive to younger people. At the moment, the ministry requires new troops and training units to have a buzz cut if you're a guy and short hair for women, but it will start allowing them slightly longer hairstyles. Ooh. From the start of the new fiscal year, the ministry will, get this, allow men to have short back and sides with longer hair on top, and women, they're gonna have long hair, as long as it does not interfere with the wearing of a helmet or hat, and is tied up when they're in uniform, so the hair doesn't touch the shoulders, obviously, duh. A Japan Today reader, however, brings up a point that having long hair can be a disadvantage in hand-to-hand combat if the enemy tries to yank you by the hair. A Mohican might impress the enemy, but even the JSDF wouldn't allow that. I don't know what a Mohican is. I assume it's a haircut. Japan's favorite nuclear kaiju, Godzilla, has been to many famous sites around the world, but before now, he's never been to the Oscars. But when the Academy Awards roll around on March 10th, Godzilla will be stretching his scaly reptilian big ol' legs down the red carpet for the first time in the franchise's 70-year history. Godzilla Minus One, the 37th film in the film series, is nominated for Best Visual Effects. The film was an unexpected hit when it landed in North American theaters in December. Though it was largely intended for Japanese audiences, Godzilla Minus One became the highest grossing Japanese live-action film ever in the US and Canada. Godzilla Minus One was also roundly acclaimed by critics who praised it for returning to the essence of Godzilla with its anti-war message. You know Godzilla, he really don't like war. At the Oscar luncheon, Steven Spielberg warmly greeted Takashi Yamazaki, the writer-director of the film, and told him he had seen Godzilla -1 3 times. A Japanese government scheme to drive digitalization in classrooms faces an uphill struggle because of teachers' lack of familiarity with the new technology. Progress has been mixed, let's say, in municipalities across Japan concerning the training of teachers. One teacher, 44-year-old Tomomi Shimokawa, who has just resumed her job as a school teacher after years of child rearing, said, "I sometimes get bewildered with digital reform and struggle to keep up." Now, that's how I feel when I open TikTok. Many teachers still prioritize the use of notebooks, pencils, and other analog writing materials in their classes, arguing that tablets are less likely to leave a lasting impression on their students. The Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, which is just way too many things for one ministry, guys, let's be honest. They want to bolster the use of digital devices in the classroom, but says a survey shows that the disparity in familiarity with digital instruments is widening among teachers. Probably that survey was done analog, I'm gonna bet. A Japan Today reader had a suggestion. Easy solution to this one. Get the kids to teach the teachers how to utilize the technology. And now, it's time for...
Can I do it?
The weird and wonderful news brought to you by...
GaijinPot Study! Do you want to study Japanese? Do you want to study Japanese in Japan? With GaijinPot Study, we'll help you pick your school, get your visa, and perhaps more. Inquire today. Today.
Weird.
And wonderful.
3 bumbling thieves have been arrested after their crime was live streamed on a phone stolen from their victim. Here's what happened. So there was a drunk guy. He was sleeping on the sidewalk in Yokohama, as drunk guys do. But for some reason, he started live streaming on his phone right before he fell asleep. A man took his wallet and phone and got into a van driven by an accomplice. At one point, the thief remarked that the phone appeared to be doing something, but didn't touch it. All the while, everything they said, and even the audio directions from the car's navigation system, were letting everyone in on what they were doing. Then, still on camera and with his face very nicely framed, the thief calls another accomplice and told him he was bringing in some stolen goods. The audience of this live stream reached 80 viewers. They all watched as this thief and his driver go into a hotel and knock on the door of room 803. And we know it's 803 because the number is very clearly seen in the video. The thief then puts this still broadcasting phone on the table, and the camera's facing up, and both of the dudes' faces are perfectly visible. Eventually, one of them looks at the phone and he says, "I wonder if it's locked. It says something like reporting to the police." Needless to say, the police had 90 minutes of evidence and arrested all 3 of these knuckleheads. Domino's Pizza Japan has released a public apology on its official X account after a 15-second video of a male employee picking his nose and wiping his finger on pizza dough went viral. In the X post, Domino's officials apologized for any discomfort or inconvenience the video caused to its customers. Footage of the prank garnered criticism across the web, and from me. According to Domino's, the video was filmed by a part-time employee at a store in Amagasaki City, Hyogo Prefecture at around 2 a.m. on February 12th. So don't order Domino's at 2 a.m., all right? Pizza dough in the footage was not used in any product and was thrown out. Or so they say. The pizza chain location suspended its operations on the same day and fired both employees. Always think about what damage your boogers could do. Hope they're not working at Pizza Hut now. With increasing numbers of people in Japan getting married late or not at all, local governments are turning to a new weapon in their fight to reverse the trend: artificial intelligence. That's right, baby. Authorities in many regions have been organizing traditional konkatsu events, which is like a matchmaking event, but the AI is sifting the compatibility between potential partners. The AI analyzes the qualities a person is looking for in a potential partner before introducing them. Oh, clever. According to the Children and Families Agency, 32 of Japan's 47 prefectures are offering AI matchmaking services for finding marriage partners. Shiga Prefecture has had some success with the program. As of the end of January, 6 couples had decided to get married after being introduced to each other by AI. Wonder when we'll start seeing people fall in love with AI bots. It was too late. It's too late. And now, live with Laura for the weather.
It's cold and a wee bit rainy.
Thank you, Laura. And that's all for the news. Laura!
I put this inside?
Yeah, put it up too.
In my bar? No.
Clip it on your hip today.
Clip on the hip.
Clip on
Take
the
a dip. Clip on the back next to the crack. Bye, GaijinPot Study. Okay. All right, last one. Do you want to study Japanese? Do you want to study Japanese? What? Inquire today. WW.